All right. Good evening, everybody who's joining us for another edition of Speaking of Zane. Welcome to the last day of March. We are almost in the month of April. How about that? And 313th edition of Speaking of Zane. Let me turn this TV off. I'm watching the Braves game. Let me turn it off because I can see the flickering there. Braves are doing their home opening series in San Diego and are not doing too well. They're winless, actually, and they are behind tonight. So we'll see how things go. At the beginning of baseball season, what a glorious time of the year. Big baseball fan. Let's see who we've got in there. Lori is in there. Zane and Tyler. James is in there. Hey, Jimbo. How you doing, buddy? Up in Omaha, Nebraska. Carl and Peggy's in there from Missouri. Daryl is in there from Missouri. Brenda is in there from Michigan. Good to have everybody here. Baseball is the best time of year, especially this opening month or so, except here in Georgia. When we are in the throes of pollen season, we are in, usually it's a 2-week episode for us here. You know, in Georgia, we have massive pine forests here. And this time of year, when they pollinate, it is absolutely miserable. Eyes, nose, throat, and we are in the middle of that right now. Usually lasts about 2 weeks-ish, and we're about halfway through it maybe right now. But the yellow pollen covers everything like you've never seen. I know it happens in other states, but here it's particularly bad with the pine forest. But we did have a good rain overnight, which rinsed the pollen off of the cars and everything. And then this afternoon, tonight, it was a mixture of cloud and sun today, and it was really warm. So I went outside, rinsed all the vehicles off this afternoon, got all the pollen off. I just went back outside to get something out of the car, covered again. Those trees, the pollen just blows. In fact, I saw a stat that this year, I don't know if Lori, you saw this, but this year is the highest recorded pollen count in Georgia's history. It didn't look as bad. It didn't look that bad to me. It didn't look like the worst, but that's what they say. But yeah, it was kind of a cloudy day. We got some rain overnight, cloudy today, warm. But that is the time of year we're in. Well, Ken's in there. Aunt Mary's in there. Good to have you all there. Well, let's see what else we got going on. March Madness is going on. Anybody else follow basketball this time of year? College basketball. I'm always I always join a pool with some friends at work and stuff, and I've got a bracket going, and I'm in fourth place out of 12 in this little pool we've got going at work. And 3 of my 4 are in the final 4. The only one of my final 4 that did not make it was Kentucky, and they lost last night. But everybody else is still in, so I'm hopeful. I picked Duke to win it all. It was a safe pick, but we'll see how things go. But that's kind of fun to compete with my colleagues at the office. I mentioned the Braves already. I'm looking forward to watching some Braves games this week. Speaking of Braves, there's my cousin Toby in there. Toby's a big Braves fan, bigger than I am even. But yeah, I'm watching them right now, and when we're done with Speaking of Zane, I'll turn the game on again. Don't remember when the home opener is, but while they're out of town, interesting fun fact, have you heard of Banana Ball, the Savannah Bananas? Savannah has always had sort of a mediocre minor league, sort of AA team down in Savannah. Very historic ballpark down there, the oldest stadium in the state. But they had a guy come in there maybe 10-ish years ago and sort of revamp things and rename the team the Savannah Bananas, and they play a form of baseball called Banana Ball. I can't say it's my favorite thing. It's really not competitive baseball. It's more of an entertainment thing, but People love it. Well, they played today at Truist Park in Atlanta, and our son Jackson, his wife Caitlin, and our granddaughter Carson was there, and I know Carson probably enjoyed it much more than she would have enjoyed a Braves game, that's for sure. But I've never seen them myself. Only know of them. I've never seen a game, but so that was going on in town today. Of course, um, college basketball is going on in town, and our soccer team was playing in town, and lots of great things always going on in Atlanta. Oh, I had the opportunity to go to last night. I was invited as a guest by a student of mine at work to a fundraising dinner in at the Intercontinental Hotel in Buckhead, and it was for an organization called World Pediatrics. And this guy Ryan, he was born in Jamaica and had this heart condition, life-threatening heart condition, and of course was born in Jamaica, born into poverty, had no means. He was 4 or 5 years old, and came to the U.S. to get life-saving heart surgery, and was only supposed to be here for like 4 or 5 months. And the host family, the family that hosted him for that period of time, ended up adopting him, and he's still here to this day. He's 23 years old, maybe. Anyway, he works for me, or works for our company through my program, and he was the guest speaker as one of the beneficiaries of this organization. He was the guest speaker. He did a fantastic job. But anyway, he knows I live here in town, so he invited me to attend, and it was fantastic. Quite a sharp young man, just graduated from college last year. He's been working with us now for about a year. And of course, he talked about his mom and dad. His mom was there. They live in St. Louis. His mom was there. Julie's her name. I got to meet her. And just humbling of all the people he could talk about in his speech. He talked about his parents, and he talked about me. And I'm like, wow, yeah, I'm not worthy of that. But he had some really nice things to say about the program that he's a part of at our company, and all of that. So it was really kind of very fun, very flattering, very humbling to be just one character of many in this young man's life. But it was a lot of fun to do that. So drove down to Buckhead and did that, had a really nice dinner, and good stuff. Well, let's see, what else we got going on here? I was in St. Louis all week, so this young man lives in St. Louis. Usually when I'm there, I'll see him and the others that are based there, but I was there, he was here, and then we ended up seeing each other last night. But I had a good visit to St. Louis. I always do. It's my most visited city for sure, and I had a really good and productive visit there. I probably won't be back until sometime in May to St. Louis. We'll see how it goes. Always subject to change. I am home all of this week, which I'm excited about. Plan to take a visit out to see Zane sometime this week. And then next week, I'll be in Las Vegas for a few days. And then back home for a week or so. And then I'm so excited. Lori and I are taking an entire week off, and we are driving up to Dayton, Ohio. I see my friend Randy Bergmeyer in there. Randy and his wife Kathy are the ones coordinating the reunion this year in Dayton. But so Lori and I decided we would drive up there, and we're going to drive through Kentucky on the way, obviously, and do a little Bourbon Trail activity. I've never been for that purpose in Louisville and all through there. So we're going to spend a few days there, and then wind up seeing all of our old friends from the 10th Acts and the 513th AMS and the Silk Purse up in Dayton. It's going to be a lot of fun. And it'll be fun to take a break from work. I haven't had a week off in some time yet since last year. So it'll be good. And looking forward to seeing old friends for sure. Speaking of traveling and road trips, my dad and my sister, now remember, my dad is 80 years old. 80 years old. Him and my sister and her granddaughter just got home today from a 9-day, 21 state, 4,000-mile round trip. Just incredible. I'm grateful I think I have those good genes that is going to allow me to be around for that long and as active and vibrant. So Dad is going to share with me sometime this week all of the cemeteries they visited and all of the veteran thank yous that he had. So we'll include those next week. But I saw my sister posted that my dad drove every single mile of the trip, which did not surprise anybody for sure. But good stuff. What else? Let's see. We got some birthday. We had a birthday last week. I mentioned our first grandson, Colton, turned 13 this past week. And he's Zane's oldest. He's Zane's son, our first grandkid, turned 13. And we have some birthdays coming up this week. Our son, Jackson, and his wife, Caitlin, have a birthday this week. They share a birthday. Lori, is it April 1st or April 2nd? It's one of those, and they're just 1 year apart from each other, but what are the odds of that? You meet the person you marry and you both share the same birthday. The odds are almost impossible, but it is true. I think we're having dinner with them. What is some Wednesday? I guess Wednesday. So April 2nd. Yeah. See, Lori, this is why I have Lori, because she knows everybody's birthdays. I don't know anybody's birthdays. She knows all the birthdays. But so I think we're having dinner with them for their birthday this week. So that'll be fun. And let's see. Let me look at my list here. I think that's everything that's going on around here at the fabulous McDonald Estate and Insane Asylum. Hat of the week always has something to do with what's going on around here or something in the news. Unfortunately, the hat of the week is for a terrible reason this week. You can see it's my 3rd Infantry Division hat. That's the division that Zane was a part of. He was in the 3rd Brigade Combat Team, 369 of the 3rd Infantry Division. And the reason I'm wearing the ball cap today is in honor of 4 3rd Infantry Division. They're members of the 1st Brigade Combat Team. I think they call them the Raiders. 4 members of the 3rd ID who are missing. They're missing. Their whereabouts is known because they were in a Hercules vehicle, not an aircraft. Maybe David knows what a Hercules. It's like some sort of armored vehicle in Lithuania, where the 1st Brigade is currently deployed, and they were on an exercise, and they wound up in a bog and have been missing for some number of days now, and 4 of them, and they're believed to be about 3 to 4 meters below the surface of the water, buried in the mud, the bog. And for the last several days, they've been moving in all kinds of heavy equipment and pumps and all kind of stuff in an effort. Divers have come in um, to retrieve the soldiers that are buried there. Just a terrible situation. Is like we always say, you know, combat is inherently dangerous, but so is training for it. And in this case, it appears that it's taken the life of these 4 soldiers. I'm certain that they're known because there are 4 of them that are unaccounted for, but they've not released the names, of course, out of respect to the families. So continue to pray for the families and all of those who are involved in the recovery effort. So, in honor of those 4, um, my 3rd Infantry Division ball cap is the hat of the week. All right, well, let's see. What do we got? Oh, also, I believe it's true that yesterday was, what do they call it? National Vietnam Veterans Day, I believe. Somewhere along the way, they decided they wanted to have a special day for Vietnam veterans. I don't have any trouble with it. Some will say, well, we're veterans. Why not just celebrate us on Veterans Day? That's fair. I understand all that. But there's a particular day that they acknowledge specifically Vietnam veterans. And it's kind of a unique situation where, you know, Vietnam veterans were not welcomed back or heralded in the same fashion that their predecessors were in the Korean War and certainly World War II. So I don't have any trouble with that. Okay, well, let's see. How about we go through our couple of challenges here? I'll try to get through these so I can get back to the Braves game before they lose. I mean, before the game's over. Let's see. Veteran Cemetery Challenge. So we did have a few visits this week. I saw Daryl made a visit to Jefferson Barracks to visit his wife, Wanda. Daryl lives maybe 30 miles ish away from there. He lives in Florissant, which is north, and Jefferson Barracks is south of St. Louis. They're both sort of west of St. Louis. He's northwest. Jefferson Barracks is south west. And I mentioned my dad is going to send me the list of visits he made so we can add those next week. And then we had a couple of very new cemetery visits for us, which I'll need to add to my map. My map is woefully out of date. I do have a lot of new ones I need to add to my Google map that shows all the visits that you all have made. But Amy and her sister Barb, Amy Walton I'm talking about, and her sister Barb made a trip down to Texas. If you remember last week, I talked about Amy and Sam visiting the new National Medal of Honor Museum. Amy and Barb stayed on, and they made a visit to Dallas-Fort Worth National and a cemetery called Moody Cemetery, which is where an Air Force veteran friend of Barb's was buried. They found his headstone. They said it was not a very well-kept cemetery. So it was not a national cemetery or a state veteran cemetery. I can't remember the exact circumstances there, but anyway, Amy got us 2 brand new cemeteries that we have not visited as a group. And then Lori made a visit this week. Lori periodically will have some doctor appointments in Canton, Georgia, which is about 20 miles from us. And so whenever she's there, she'll pay a visit to Zane at Georgia National Cemetery, which is in Canton. And Canton is about, I guess it's about maybe 40 miles north of Atlanta, just to give you kind of a perspective there, 40 to 50. But so Lori made a visit there. So if I add up the ones that I know about, that would be, is Ken in there tonight? Ken, can't remember. I know that you visited Arlington National Cemetery last week. I think I called it out for you last week. Because his parents are buried there. Ken's parents are buried there. And he also visited Michael Heiser, who many of us flew with, and someone else that Steve knows. But I don't remember if I called that out. Yeah, okay, I did. Ken said I did last week. Okay, so if I add Amy's 2, 3, 4, so we're up to 1,436 locations that we have visited. And Lori mentioned, so I'm plotting out the distilleries. I'm plotting out for the Bourbon Trail. I'm plotting out the distilleries that we're going to hit. She's plotting out the cemetery. So between the both of us, it should be an interesting visit there. And we might have about 2.5 days or so. So we'll see what we can knock out while we're there. Heck, maybe we'll go a day early. We'll see. All right. Well, let's see. So in the Thank a Vet challenge category, I see some coming in here. Looks like Jimbo had a couple. So I'm going to add Jim's. Jim had 2. Carl had 2 Air Force and a Navy. Adding these on the fly here. And let's see, Jim had 2. Okay, cool. So I think I got everybody. So Carl had 2 Air Force and a Navy this week. Lori had 6. Lori had 6. They were former or retired Marines, but they're part of the what is that organization? The Marine Corps. I forget. They visit these national cemeteries and they'll play taps and they'll do the 21 gun salute. I can't remember. There's an organization that's made up of Marines, and I cannot for the life of me remember. But anyway, Lori was at the cemetery visiting Zane, and they were there for a funeral, and she got a chance to say thanks to 6 of them. And then Daryl had an Air Force. Jim had 2, and then I had a guy called Mike that I met for the first time in St. Louis this week. He's an Air Force Academy graduate. And then I met my friend Orville at our headquarters, who's Air Force. I met a guy from California called Eric, brand new to our company, Bronze Star and a Purple Heart from Desert Storm. And then another brand new person to our company called Eric. He was a Marine. And then I met an Air Force guy at the Atlanta airport on the way to St. Louis, Air Force veteran, and said thanks to him. So let's see, if I add up, and Amy had one. Amy had an Air Force guy at that Moody Cemetery I was talking about. And it turns out this Air Force guy that she met there was stationed at Mildenhall, supporting the RC-135s, which were always there on rotation from Offutt. So that was kind of cool. So if I add these up, 1, 2, 3, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So 17 thank yous for the week. Not too shabby. So I'll add 5 to that. It's just to 83. And I'm going to add David's in there. All right, David, I got yours. Where do you go to the VA there, Dave? And Orlando, Tampa, I don't remember. So if I add Dave's 7, that would be, that makes us 24. And if I add 7 here, that makes us a grand total of 3,390 times that someone has heard from one of us. Hey, you served? I did too. Or, hey, thank you for serving. Or, hey, where were you stationed? Something like that, some interaction. So thank you guys for doing that. They all deserve to be acknowledged for sure. Okay, Lori wants me to remind everyone about the Running to Honor 5K, which will be coming up in July. It'll be nice and smoky hot down here in July in Atlanta, but we won't be here. We'll be in London, actually. Well, actually, we may be here. We're just going to run the race in London a week or two before the actual race is run. So we may run it twice, actually. But anyway, officially on the books, we're going to do it again with my colleagues in the London office. If you want to know details about that race, you can just Google running to honor, or you can go to the Speaking of Zane Facebook group and you can find information on there. I should post another link there, but you can find out all about it. You can run it. You can run that race from anywhere in the world. Like I said, we'll be running it in London, but we'll be running it like, I think, a week or two before the actual race occurs in Michigan. But that's because we're going to be over there. I'm going to do it again with my colleagues, which will be fun. Okay, well, let's see. I think I mentioned last week, it's not too early to be thinking about what you're going to do for Wreaths Across America. Speak of another awesome organization. At a veteran cemetery near you, they will be placing wreaths at the headstones, and we've done it for quite some number of years now, maybe 9 here in Georgia. And this year it happens to be on December the 13th. It's a Saturday, December the 13th is when that occurs. They have a new theme this year. They always have a theme. This year's theme is called Keep Moving Forward. Keep moving forward. Very good. Oh, I just reminded myself. If you guys follow Gary Sinise, remember Gary Sinise, Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump, does great work, has his own band, very patriotic guy. And if you know Mike Rowe from Mike Rowe Works, you know Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs. Mike Rowe has a podcast, and one of his recent podcasts, Gary Sinise is the guest. I haven't listened to it yet. All my friends keep telling me about it. Have you heard the podcast yet? And I have not yet. I'm waiting. I like to listen to those things on my afternoon walk, and so I will listen to it tomorrow while I am walking. And if you may recall, Gary Sinise's son, I believe his name was Mac, recently passed away. And I'll be honest, I don't know all of the circumstances around it. I know that his son was a musician. So I'm looking forward to listening to the podcast because I really admire both of those men. Both very pragmatic, very patriotic figures for sure. Okay, Lori said she put a link there. Good. Well, there's my buddy Doc Collier in there. Hey, Doc. Great to see you tonight, and appreciate you joining us. I'm not surprised that you listened to that as well. And I know that you started your new role as, I believe, now my friend Doc Collier, as the nickname implies, is the medical doctor, and he's got a new gig now with a company called Lenovo. You've probably heard of Lenovo. And Doc, correct me if I get this wrong, but you are the healthcare chief technology officer or something like that. Doc is a unique individual where he straddles the space of medicine or healthcare and technology. It's an interesting realm, and he's a very well suited guy to tackle both of those disciplines there. It takes a unique person, I think, to bridge that gap. So good on you there, Doc, and happy for you. Okay, well, let's see. I think that is all we got for this evening. Keep the four soldiers and their families in your prayer. Can you imagine the families right now, just knowing that their soldiers gone, and this, the circumstances of it are just, unbearable to think about. And so they certainly could use our thoughts and prayers, and we'll be following that story all week, of course. It's just a terrible thing for sure. And you remember, when you're out and about this week at work or play or school or church or whatever, if you see a veteran, acknowledge them. And yeah, Doc, that's a good reminder, especially this time of year. We've all been impacted. We had a tornado about less than 10 miles from our place. And then there was a tornado right there, Doc, in Maryland Heights a couple of Fridays ago. So certainly and tornadoes, the unpredictable nature of them make them so scary. But yeah, keep folks in mind that are in the pathway of severe weather. But and remember, speaking of Gary Sinise says, service is a great healer. He says, if you have a broken heart, help somebody else. Your whole life will be different. And I think he speaks from a good place, or a relevant place, when he gives that advice. And of course, one of my favorite quotes from Ronald Reagan that I often talk about is, we can't help everyone, but everyone can help someone. A little bit of a tongue twister, but you get the point. But good stuff. If we all do that, it'll be a better world. So, okay, folks, go out there this week and slay it. And wishing you all the best. And we'll look forward to everybody coming back together next Sunday evening for another edition of Speaking of Zane, where we're speaking his name in an effort to keep his memory alive. So, all right, folks, appreciate every one of you, and we'll see you next week. God bless.